disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be alright, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Lobito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Welcome everybody to the Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. As your good friend Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. We've got a fantastic show planned for you guys tonight, or this evening rather, not tonight. I'm always thinking about the night for some reason. I guess it's because like Triple JJJ says, I'm a trampire, which is not true by the way. Anyway, listen fellas, thank you for joining us, really appreciate it. Today we're going to be doing a live film analysis of Alexander Usyk's fight against Junior Fa. You might know Junior Fa as the guy who had that lackluster fight with contender, former titleist Joseph Parker. But he's a big dude, man, 6 feet 5 inches tall, and Usyk fought him in the World Series of Boxing. And the reason why I want to watch this fight, or the highlights, is because a lot of people say that Usyk cannot hurt Joshua. But like we already saw with the Joyce fight, also in the World Series of Boxing, there's a little bit of a misconception about that. So we're going to get down to that. Before we do that, I want to mention something to the BDA members. Those of you that joined the BDA membership, I posted the Benavides film analysis, I think on Sunday or Saturday, but I don't know if you guys are getting notifications for that, because this is a new system, and I don't know if, usually when you post a video, you can put it as private, unlisted, or public, but there's a feature there that says for members only. But I don't know if you guys got it. What you can do if you do not get it, the notification, what you can do is go to the community section, and every time I post something for the members, you will be seeing a message there. All right, so stay up to date for that one. The Benavides fight, like I said, the Benavides film analysis is up there, and I'm gonna be posting a Devin Haney defense film analysis, because I think his defense really could prove problematic for a lot of people in the lightweight division. In fact, I'm one of the few people. I think I've only talked to Precise, Ring IQ, and I think Recognize. Those are the only three people that I know that give Haney a chance, or that actually slightly favor him over Teofimo Lopez. I think Teofimo Lopez has gotten a lot of people excited over his win over Lomachenko, but styles make fights. So anyway, I'm going to be posting a film analysis on Devin Haney's defense. And then later on, maybe one about the jab. That would be public, though, because I think the jab is something that everyone needs to know about out there. Anyway, listen, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And that's about it, fellas. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Talking about the Can Man, Black Lomachenko, Blue Core Sport TV, a.k.a. Del Boy. It's a salute, kings and queens. Triple JJJ, shout out to Triple JJJ, Usyk Wilder, Paul Atreides, Black Lomachenko, Brandon Jackson, Double A, Sean O'Connell, Official Scorecard Boxing. Shout out to Official. Official, if you want to jump on, let me know. General Aladdin, KC Boxing, Puglakan, Stray G Turo, Endgame. Shout out to Endgame. Iceman, Paulie Bihoy, Jerry Looney, Tim Bollins, Redman, and many more people to come. I'm sure, fellas, thank you for joining us. Well, yeah, don't forget to check out the Joshua Usyk documentary we just dropped yesterday during the night, I believe. It's a very good documentary. Already I'm seeing people there in the comment section going, "You're going to cry when Usyk loses." I'm not invested in Usyk winning. I just think it's a heck of a fight, and I think most people aren't giving him credit. But other than that, man, hey, a lot of good comments in that video, a lot of eye-opening things that I hadn't considered, and hopefully you guys in the chat today let us know more about that and about the film analysis we're going to watch here in a couple of minutes. Let me just call a couple of people, and while I wait, I've got some news about the Joshua Usyk event as well. Hold on a second. Who am I missing here? Gonzalo. All right, so I'm inviting a couple of people over here. Oh, by the way, we got Recognize on. Recognize, you there? Recognize. Yeah, he's probably there, but he's just getting his act together, as I like to call it.
I'm right here.
How you doing, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Hopefully you are as well. Oh, we got Jimmy too. Jimmy, you there?
Yes, I am, bro.
Jimmy, how you doing, man? Good to have you on board.
What's going on, dude?
Listen, we're just gonna be looking at the couple of clips here about Usyk versus Junior Fa. I'm gonna be sharing the screen, so hopefully if you can get to a device where you can see it, the sharing of the screen. Fantastic. I'm using a new software, by the way, because I was using another one that was taking way too much CPU, and when you're live streaming, the computer really overloads. So hopefully this one works better. I tried it out, and I think it will. Listen, the reason why... okay, actually, before that, there's some news coming in here from Boxing Scene. The undercard for the Joshua Usyk event is in, and it's actually pretty good. Hold on, let me see. There we go. I'm gonna make this bigger so everyone on YouTube can see it. There's Lawrence Okoli fighting some undefeated guy from Belarus. No, from Montenegro, I think. I don't know the guy. Dylan Prasovic is his name. And I guess he's undefeated, but I want to see how he fights, because that's the most important thing. So there's that one. Then you have Callum Smith in his first light heavyweight bout after getting smacked around by Canelo over at 168. Hopefully he fills out at 175, has more strength, but he's taking on a tough dude. He's taking on the Dominican Republic's Lenin Castillo. You guys might remember Castillo as a guy who gave...
I see him getting beat up by, what's his name?
Bivol.
Yep.
He actually gave him a very tough fight, though. I mean, Bivol had to mind his P's and Q's. He's a big dude, too. He looks like a cruiserweight there.
Yeah, he's a big motherfucker.
So it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting to see if he can pull, if he has a tough outing at light heavyweight. Anyway, the light heavyweight division is getting more interesting then with that fight. So that's the event. It's gonna be a nice little event on Saturday evening for us here. So let's have a look at that one when it happens. The reason why I want to show the clips here for the Usyk Fa fight. First of all, a couple of disclaimers. Yes, I know the fight took place 8 years ago, and it was a semi-amateur, semi-pro event. But the reason why we're watching this fight is because some of the misconceptions that are being thrown out there about Usyk versus Joshua. They're saying Usyk doesn't do well versus heavyweights, which is untrue. We already saw how well he did against Joey Joyce in another World Series of Boxing fight. Second of all, the people keep saying Usyk can't hurt Joshua. Well, when he fought Joyce, who has an iron chin, nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed for Joyce is that he's a little bit better with his timing and his accuracy. He's still a 6 feet 5 inch tall monster with an iron chin. And guess what? When Usyk fought him, as we saw in those clips, he was stunning him with the shots and he made him hesitant. It was only a 5-round fight, so you would have expected Joyce to just keep walking through all of that and to try to make it, happen real quick because he only had 5 rounds. Instead, he spent a good part of the middle rounds hesitant of Usyk's shots. And as we're going to see here against the very strong Junior Fa, who's also 6 feet 5 inches tall, Usyk's shots carry a wallop, but there's also a couple of weaknesses there from Usyk. So we're going to get to that. But fellas, what do you think about that when people say, well, Usyk can't hurt Joshua? As if Joshua's this a guy that's impervious to damage or pain.
I mean, they just pay attention to muscle tones. They're not paying attention to the guy's condition, right? Because you can get hurt in many different ways. Somebody could snap your energy. It's not that the person's like really hurt. It's just his energy's dying out. He's starting to get dropped now. Same thing what happened to him and pretty much with the Ruiz fight. I'm pretty sure AJ's gotten hit with bigger shots than what Ruiz caught him with. It just seemed like he wasn't able to recover the right way, and he was drained. Right, that third round, he never got over it after knocking him down, getting back up, and then knocking down AJ twice. He never recovered from it. It wasn't like, oh my God, Ruiz is just bruising me up. I can't recover. That type of thing. It's like more like his energy zapped. So why wouldn't you think Usyk couldn't do that? That part I don't get. Of course Usyk could hurt him. Usyk could definitely hurt him and stop him.
One of the things that people like to say is, well, he can't hurt him because he couldn't hurt Chisora. First of all, he did hurt him because we did a film analysis about that live on the air. And we showed that he did hurt him. Then it becomes, well, he can't stop him. Which, okay, now that's an understandable point. But to disparage...
Maybe he can.
Right, but to disparage his power because he couldn't stop Chisora, as far as I remember, there's only been 3 people that stopped Chisora. David Haye, who caught him with a punch coming in. And by the way, David Haye also stunned Nikolai Valuev, who's about 7 feet tall. So there's no shame getting knocked out by David Haye. Tyson Fury stopped him, but it was the type of beating where he's just slapping him around, putting trauma in his brain, and therefore they stopped it. And then Dylan White stopped him, but it took him about 11 rounds to do it. So, it's not like everybody that beats Chisora is stopping him by knockout.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, styles make fights, like people say, and Chisora doesn't fight like he doesn't fight like AJ.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't come in the way Chisora does. He kind of beats you at on the outside mid range. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for AJ to win this fight, to set him up for big punches, or accumulate punches and could get the stoppage. Now I'm not saying he's going to do that for sure. We'll find out on September when they fight. But to rule out that he can't do it at all, I think I think these boxing fans might be a little delusional.
It's a little bit. And let me just say this too as well. When people say, he can't stop, what's his name, Joshua, because he couldn't stop Chisora. But at the same time, Andy Ruiz stopped Joshua, right? And people say, well, Ruiz is a big puncher. Yeah, but he couldn't stop Arreola, who was 40 years old. So I mean, we can go.
The opposite argument is look at his knockout percentage. It's not exactly like Joshua's, where he's only got 1 or 2 fights that went the distance. He's got close to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a big guy. So if he's got that much weight behind him and some of these fights are going the distance, then you have to start asking yourself, is he really a big puncher? Or is it because he caught Joshua with a lot of weight and at the right time? And we've seen Joshua hurt a few times. So is it Joshua's chin or is it Ruiz's power?
Yeah, that's the thing. And there was also I've watched that fight a lot of often now because every time I do a video about Joshua Usyk, I have to include that fight if it comes up. And look, Joshua he got concussed in there, and then his conditioning went out the window because he was getting frustrated. He was going big with every shot, trying to get something back, and it just exhausted him. And he hit a wall. When people say that he did not quit, I disagree, man. I think he quit, and I'm not saying that he was wrong for quitting. Look, he was the one in the ring taking the shots, but the main argument here is he hit a wall. He hit his limit. We know now what his limit is. And exhaustion had a big part in it. So there's something to be said about that coming into this fight.
He's had a reputation of getting a little gassed in some of the mid-late rounds before anyway, if you got a late round stoppage. Because if I'm correct, you only have one fight to go the distance so far. No, two, because Ruiz is the second one.
Sure.
But in some of the rounds, around 8, 9 before a knockout would come up, he's been a little gassed before. And some people think it's due to his physique. Those big muscular physiques sometimes tire out on some fighters. Not all of them, but some of them. Could be, and some people think it's because, he was lifting too many weights. And so that was hampering him. Can't get inside the guy's head and what was causing him to look like he was sluggish. We just know that there were times that it looked more like he was pushing punches till he got a second wind in a few fights.
Exactly. And listen, I was rewatching the Pulev fight. He got a little tired in there too. In the middle, after he dropped him, he had to recompose himself because for him, it was a lot of shots that he threw when he had Pulev hurt, and for about 2 or 3 rounds, he was clinching a lot when he didn't need to. You know what I mean? So his stamina is suspect, and Usyk is one of the best conditioned fighters that I've seen. Now, the big question is, can he preserve that stamina if he's adding on weight? We will see. But anyway, listen, without further ado, let's get to this film analysis here. And again, this is against Junior Fa. And Junior Fa is from New Zealand, I believe. Yes, New Zealand. He's 6 feet 5 inches tall. He's 31 years old. Pretty big dude. He's got 20 fights now. His only loss was to Joseph Parker, and Parker was very hesitant in that fight, as he should be, because Fa is a big dude. Very slow, though, as you're going to see, but still, it just goes to show you how Usyk does against heavyweights. Because again, Chisora was a big heavyweight. He might not have been tall, but he was 250 pounds in there against Usyk, and it was a 38-pound difference. And after that fight, if you would put Usyk in there against Junior Fa right now, and you'd never seen this fight, you'd think, oh, well, Fa's going to be very big. I don't know if Usyk's going to be able to beat him. But let's see now in this one how he handles another tall heavyweight. So, anyone got anything to say before we start?
Let the games begin.
All right, so let's play this shit. All right, so this is just the defense, first of all. This is just Usyk, using his footwork to get in and out, trying to get Fa with the lead hand. See, trying to catch him with catch hooks. Check hooks, I'd rather. And it's interesting here, in this sequence here, first of all, one thing I like about Usyk is how he sort of makes himself big. Maybe we can see it in another clip here. Hold on. Is it in this one? No. Oh, here it is, I think. So sort of how he starts using his hands, sort of like peacocking a little bit. He's making himself bigger against the taller Fa. And I think that's a good tactic, because it keeps, with those hands, you keep the other guy occupied, not knowing when the shots are coming in. And he's
very cautious, like.
Is that a Soviet thing? Is that something from the old Soviet school of boxing, or?
I think so.
I mean, he's recognized as I think so. I can't comment one way or the other. I'm just seeing the fact that he does it. I've seen Lomachenko do it a time or two, not very often, but Kashizu was very famous for it, of just probing the left out there without measuring, because he'd keep the elbow bent just enough to where it's not a straight-armed measure. So he'd keep the left arm cocked just enough to where they can't accuse him of measuring, where he's still doing his distance without leaving a full opening, because now he can parry. When he does that, if it's a jab, you're limiting the range of what you can parry with. When it's just probing out there, you can block all sorts, just turn a little circle, and there's all sorts of range you can offset opponent's shots with, like he's doing right here.
Yep, and he's circling towards Fa's right, so he feels pretty comfortable circling either side. Yeah, you look at that. See that how it allows him? You're right. It allows him to essentially keep Fa entertained with those hands, and I mean, he's got 2 lines of defense. There you see him with his guard up. They're just essentially evading shots. Now this is an interesting clip here, because I just wanted to show you guys this one. See how he steps in with the jab, and Fa this time, because usually Fa's mistake, as we're going to see later, is he's just leaning back most of the time in a straight line, and Usyk just chases him down with that. But here he stands his ground, leans back, tries to get him with the right hand, but look at Usyk how he sort of leans back, tucks his chin in a little bit, and with the left hand deflects the right hand.
Yep, just catches it and deflects it right off.
This is why it's
BDA also.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say when you asked if it was the Russian, the old Soviet style, they're from the Ukraine, which I know was part of Russia, but I don't know if they're still the same exact school. You know what I mean? The school, there was the old Moscow boxing school. So I don't know if they use the same style.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's definitely a trait of all pretty much Eastern Europeans, the high guard. They teach the fundamentals from the Queensberry style, you know what I mean? And everything's been bastardized now since then. What's that, brother?
I wasn't trying to. I'm sorry, Jimmy, but we were discussing leaving the handout like Kashizu used to, who is directly from Russia. Even now, you're correct. Ukraine's a separate country and on the other side of the continent, actually. So I understand what you're saying there, but you made a valid point in the fact that the wall's been down long enough to where it's not really, you can't really consider a Russian thing anymore.
Right, since '89, right? So I mean,
right,
Christ, he was just a kid when that wall went down. He wasn't even part of it. But
him and Lomachenko both, whereas Zhu was actually part of the Soviet Union at one point in time before the wall came down, and I don't believe he defected. I think he just moved away from Russia and went to Australia.
But and I think the par out was his pretty much something he adopted for himself. You know what I mean? He figured. You know what I mean? I think that was just one of his things. I don't think that was big in Russia, like the holding hand out the way he used to do it. That measuring.
Yeah, you're right, because when he turned pro, he wasn't doing that very, very much. He developed it later, especially when he was fighting lefties. He did a lot against Shambe Mitchell. He did it a few times against Zab Judah.
What I'm trying to get at, though, is the fact that it's possible that the roots are still there from that old Soviet school of boxing. So it's highly likely, but be that as it may,
possibility.
Be that as it may, Usyk is a very competent defender where it comes to the footwork or a guard. As we saw, obviously a guard, I don't think it's going to be in his best interest to put that guard out there too much against a bigger opponent. But as you can see, sometimes when he doesn't see the punch coming right away, he will shell up. Like, hold on a second, it's not in this clip. Here. See how he just tucks in? He didn't see that right hand coming in time to deflect it, so he decided to just get into his shell. Tucks that chin in like a turtle, hands up, very tight. Boom, stops the right hand in his track. And Junior Fa, you can see no follow-up shots, because at this point, this is the second round. And this is why Junior Fa is not a world-class, the best heavyweight in the world, is because he doesn't follow up his shots. He's content with just throwing 1-2s.
Look at the he's perfect for a liver shot right there. Right under that left, his right elbow.
Yeah.
Like right after he throws the shot, he's still fucking got it up, his hands in his face. That's when you dig that left into the liver.
So,
exactly.
Can you rewind that just right here, going in slow? Now we can't see Fa's, physique from the front, but the old Customata rule was you look at the chest, and when the chest is flexing in a certain way, or at a certain time, you know what your opponent's going to do. If you do see that when Fa's moving forward, his right arm's already tensed up, and Usyk can see that coming. So the reason why his hands stay up is he knows a right is coming, whether it's to the face or the body. As you notice, he crouches just a little bit when he's doing this. So he's covering his ribs also. And he puts the top of his head down because that's the hardest part of the upper body. So his chin's protected, his gut's somewhat protected, and because he knows the right hand's coming because he can see everything tensing up through the shoulders and the chest.
Mm-hmm. It's a good, that's an astute observation right there. You're right. I think he did. Because see, at this point here, see how he's watching there? I mean, keep in mind, this is all slow motion, but he has to watch out for this in split-second timing. And I think right here he did see Junior Fast trying to distract him with the left, just throwing that out there to put him in position for the right, but Usyk just still blocked. Joshua's going to have to throw combinations in there. If he's going to box from the outside, it has to be okay, timing him in between shots, but at the same time following up, because one shot at a time, it's not going to cut it against Usyk. Now, when it comes to weakness...
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'll wait my turn.
You want to rewatch it, you said?
No. You mentioned Joshua. We'll keep going with this, and there's some points about Joshua I can make later. We'll finish this out first. I'll let you lead, and I'll not interrupt you again.
That's okay, man. Here you see just... this is what I keep saying Joshua's going to have to do here in the fight. Just tap him. Flick the jab. Don't throw. He's going to have a weight advantage over Usyk. He's going to be very strong. He doesn't need to put too much in the jab, because the more he puts in it, the more likely Usyk is going to see it coming and dodge it. He needs to just do this. enough to snap his head a little bit so that the judges take note. It's almost like, again, that this whole controversy that's going on in the YouTube community about Pacquiao Ugas. Pacquiao did land some more shots than I remembered in the fight against Ugas, but the judges didn't give him credit for it. Ugas was landing more head snapping shots, or the more head snapping shots, I should say. Not that he was landing more, but this is going to be the opposite here. Judges are very subjective. If Usyk lands the head snapping shots, it's likely that they're gonna be watching more for Joshua's stabs. And again, it's not. I'm not saying they're worthless stabs, but that's what I'm saying. Though I think he needs to flick the jab. Don't go big. Just stab him like here. Just stab him. Don't go for big shots, and just essentially try to outpoint Usyk.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So Jimmy made this comment in regards to Mel Charlo's last fight: is don't put any real power on your shots. Just let your hands go through them off from the shoulder to throw what's his name, Castano.
Mm-hmm.
All right, different styles. I understand that, but the concept is still the same. You've got this guy who's this Energizer Bunny that has multiple facets of how he can attack you. You're already the bigger guy. Your hands are already going to be heavier than what he's normally used to seeing, regardless. So don't load up with it. Just flick it out there. Don't paw with it like he does a lot, which is something I was going to say a minute ago. He likes to go out there and just paw with a jab as a rangefinder. Instead of pawing with it, snap it instead as a rangefinder and keep it out there. It's longer. It doesn't have to have power on it because it's still providing a barrier for he's got to get past.
Exactly. It's not the hardest punch, but like you said, it's something that's gonna keep him busy and conscious of. And the mind can only do so much. If it's conscious of that, it's not gonna be conscious of something else that Joshua could set him up for. So, excellent point there, Chief. Now, this is something that I don't want Usyk doing too much if he wants to win this fight. It's jumping in there. See how he's just. When he jumps in there, he's very vulnerable. Chin up in the air, straight line. Now the difference is he's very quick, and like I said, Junior Fa, just not the best counterpuncher in the world. So he's just backing up and letting Usyk do his thing. Again, here's what I'm talking about with the jab. See that? Just a flicking jab. Here we see it again. They're fencing.
Okay.
Boom.
So, BDA, you probably already have an idea what I'm about to say. Why did that jab land so well?
I don't know.
We got a lefty and a righty again. Where's Fa's foot?
It's on the inside.
Right. Now, usually you want the outside when you want to move, use the jab and move and use your ring generalship. But when you're stepping in, and he's stepping in with that shot, he's now piercing that guard with his foot. And then steps in with the jab right with it, and that's why it lands. Now, when it comes time for controlling the action on movement and everything else, Usyk's foot's already in the right spot. But when they're on the outside, they're parrying their feet right there, and then he steps in and pierces with the foot and the jab. He pierces the invisible shield altogether with his foot, follows in with the jab, and it lands right in between.
Interesting. So if he wanted to land the right hand and not get hit by the left, he would want to have that foot outside, right? But here,
yeah,
I think he did by accident.
When it comes time to using I'm sure it was by accident. I'm not trying to give Paul a whole lot of credit. Yeah. I'm just saying that the reason why it happened, the physics of why it happened, is what I just explained.
Sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look at that. Boom. Nice little jab. See, it snapped his head back. So these are the type of shots the judges want to see. It's not the hardest shot, but it moved Usyk. Now here, both of them landed with their lead hand. Hold on, let me just rewind it because sorry, in slow motion. There. Not the hardest shot. See, this one wasn't really... Well, actually, yeah, it did. See, that's the thing. This guy's fucking 240 pounds. So even if he just stabs him, look at how he moves Usyk's face around.
I was going to say, did he move his face around or did he just roll with it? But you can tell by the neck, the base of the neck, that it did actually move him a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But he did, to his credit, he stood right in there. See, that's the thing. People like to gauge power by how the other guy reacts. Well, in this case, if you're using that same metric, Usyk's got a pretty good chin. He took some wicked right hands, as we saw when we were watching the Chisora fight. Took some wicked overhand rights, and he barely flinched. See, again here, jumping in. Now, at this point, he's tired, though. So I don't really blame him, but you do not want to just jump in there. See there, he gets hit and he just keeps coming because he's in control, but still, and his feet squares himself up a little bit there. No. Big no.
That's an excellent point. He's in control. The only time he's going to want to leap in with Joshua is if he can physically feel that he's in control. Some fighters have said when they can feel they're in control, you can feel it by the other guy's body language. When he's leaning against you, is he muscling you? Is he tense against you? Or is he like relaxed against you? Or is he like using you to hold him up, for lack of a better term? And so if he doesn't feel from Joshua's his physical presence that he's got in control, don't leap in. Keep your movement. Wear him out. Make him chasing you. Move around the ring. Do your thing.
Exactly. We got Gonzalo dropping by. Gonzalo, you there?
Can you hear me, BDA?
Yes, I can hear you, man. Thank you for being on. I want to ask you, Gonzalo, can you see the screen I'm sharing?
Yeah, I can listen to it, but I got the dogs barking like really loud right now.
Okay, but can you see it though, or?
I'm listening. Say again?
Can you see the image I'm sharing, or are you just listening?
Yeah, I'm watching the image.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let's keep going here. Okay, hold on a second. All right. So now we get to the Usyk's jabs. Pretty good jab. Hold on a second. It's lagging a little bit. All right. So here, well, we can't really see it well here. All right. So there you see him just landing his jab, putting pressure on the bigger guy, having him, and it's fast fault too, because he's giving ground. And by giving ground, I mean backing up without actually setting up any counters in return. When I showed you the defense of Usyk, there were some counter-punching attempts from Fa, but it was one shot at a time, and that's not going to get it done against a guy like Usyk. Usyk is a little bit crazy. That's why he's such a good competitor. Olympic gold medalist, cruiserweight champ and all that. This motherfucker's crazy. He's in there and he expects to get hit a little bit, and it doesn't mind. So, as you can see here, he times Fa's rhythm a little bit there. See Fa's going back and forth. I think Usyk just sees and says, whack. Let me whack you with a jab. And it's not a telegraphing jab. See that?
Well, but you also don't know when he's just going to be putting his arm just out, because he does it a lot. He puts it out there as a rangefinder. So sometimes he's bouncing in and out and he's just extending the arm, and then sometimes he just snaps it. With the slow motion, it's kind of hard to see that as real as he does it. But when he's moving around the ring, he moves his hands a lot, a little bit of Chris Bird. So sometimes he's just moving those hands all together, so you don't know if it's going to be a punch. And then that one turned out he decided to commit to it right about there. Boom. And that's going to be a punch that may throw Joshua's timing off a good bit. If Joshua goes in there, even against the Ruiz in the second fight, he started out in there with that jab, range find, slow, soft, out there. The guy's I'm out of his range because my reach is longer, but, you know, when you do that and you just keep it out there without putting anything on it, like you said, if he just flicks it, that's one thing, because there's still speed behind it. But if he's just doing that small paw, Usyk can time that with his own jab or other punches. There's a distinct difference between them in size, but not an overwhelming difference between them in size. It's only no more than maybe 4 inches in reach, which is fingertip to fingertip, and only about 3 inches in height. If you have the speed, you can make up for that pretty easily.
The speed and the timing as well. So we're going to see that.
Those have to go hand in hand.
In these clips, you can see that, I think Junior Fox is his name. He's keeping his hands down like many fighters tend to do nowadays. It would behoove Joshua to not necessarily keep a high guard where he's shelling up, but, you know, keep the jab hand at least extended enough where you could pop out your own jab and use that to parry these type of jabs from a Usyk.
Excellent point, Gonzalo. Yep. And he did that a little bit against Pulev, where he was in total control and he would drop the lead, and sometimes he would just put it out there. But yeah, like you said, obviously Joshua's a better fighter than Fa, so I'm going to expect him to be quicker on the counterpunch trigger. But he does something that Fa does as well, which is to just lean back sometimes. And it's all good and well when you're fighting bigger guys, slow guys too. Just lean back and then you can reset into counter. But when you're fighting a guy like Usyk, who's quicker than most people expect and closes the distance faster, that lean back thing might end up costing Joshua a little bit.
If he can take Usyk's punch, it's only going to cost him points, not possible knockout. That's the biggest thing. If Usyk can hurt him, first of all, Usyk's probably going to say, I'm not going to go for your head. I'm going to throw a couple straight lefts to the body and see what that does. And see if that brings his hands down as he moves back.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, one of the main points we're trying to explore here in these clips too is that when people say, "Well, Usyk can't knock Joshua out," well, he doesn't necessarily have to knock him out. He just has to stun him and make him hesitant to open up, and that right there is step one, closer to a checkmate for Usyk. That's what he wants to get to. He wants to get to that checkmate to completely nullify Anthony Joshua. And here you can see, this is a clip I like to illustrate how quickly he transitions from offense to defense, because Fa coming in here, like Gonzalo said, very bad technique, hands down. He's in range, by the way, but he doesn't realize it because he's not that type of fighter. Eats the jab, tries to come back with the right hand, but immediately Usyk, see how he tucks his chin in, puts those hands up, leans into the shot, try to using his forehead to block the shot. But of course the shot overshot the distance. And then he turns, pivots.
So can you just play the whole thing in slow motion for me, please? Because I have a feeling I see something. Yeah, he telegraphed the right. That's how the jab was able to land. That's one of the reasons why the left was down. All he was looking to do was load up with the right hand. So he brings it up. The left was down because all he was trying to do was just follow through the right hand. Usyk saw him rear back with it, like he did in the post earlier, and that's why he could anticipate it. So yeah, the hand was down, dumb move. But I had a strange feeling it's due to that style that some fighters do where they keep one hand down to launch their power shot. He's just doing this to set up to keep, hey, my left is down here, but I'm coming with the right. But what he does is when he brings it towards his chest, Usyk sees it coming. So he's telegraphed it. And now Usyk's like, all right, I've got five counters to this. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. What are you going to do? It's obviously Joshua's a better school fighter. I have to reiterate that because I know there's people going to go, oh, come on, Joshua, this ain't fine, ain't Joshua. But it's a bigger fighter. And people said that the size is going to be a big factor for Joshua beating Usyk. Let's see, where are we at? All right, so again, this clip here with the jab. This is what I was talking about. See how he's peacocking in there? He's putting his hands up above his head, like a peacock, trying to intimidate his opponent by giving the illusion that he's bigger. And he's changing levels too, not letting Fa know when he's going to spring forward. So this is something that he's going to do against Joshua. I actually think he's going to try to pressure Joshua in there. He's not going to dance around because, again, Joshua's not going to pressure him like Chisora did. Here again, you see...
going to try to pressure him with a lot of movement.
Yeah, it won't necessarily be with punches.
Exactly, yeah. Now, here's another clip of how he goes from offense to defense.
See how he kind of uses that lead right as like a power jab, but it's like, look, he waits for him to commit, boom, and then catches him. Because Junior Fa is committing. It's just that he's so much slower than Usyk. He gets there, and it shocks him. It shocks Fa. Not enough to like knock him out or knock him down, but it's like, oh shit, I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, right it's gonna be interesting to see because as I was doing research for the documentary that I was doing, I didn't know that Joshua used to be a sprinter. And I mean, if you guys know anything about sprinting, it's all about that fast twitch muscle fibers, right? It's anaerobic. So his body seems to be wired for short, explosive bursts, but maybe that could hinder him in the long run. I mean, we've seen slight evidence of that already.
Right, so sprinters are good at taking off really fast, right? Versus a marathon runner. A guy who could run, I'm not saying necessarily 26 miles, but, he could run like a, what do you call that shit again? When you run the tracks back over and over again? I forgot the name of it.
A marathon.
Well, it's not a marathon, but you're running laps, right?
Oh, okay.
It's like 4 laps. You got to run like 4 laps or something like that.
4 laps is roughly, I think, around 3,200 meter.
3,200 meter. That's
no. That should be 4 should be 1,600 because 4 should be a mile.
So 800.
You remember?
Yeah. So
I think. Yeah.
So he's probably really fast sprinting, right? 40-yard dash, 100-yard dash, maybe even. But when it comes to it comes to that, running the you just said it, the 1,600 meter.
Mm-hmm.
He probably breaks down, right?
This is out before the mile's up.
Yep.
But there's
you do
a flip
the 400 and the 800, but you do that 1,600 where you double that 8 and it slows you down.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a flip side to that coin though. In the rounds in which Joshua's going to be fresh, he is going to be faster than Usyk will anticipate early on. Because again, those fast twitch fibers means that he's pretty explosive for a guy his size. And so that's where Usyk's going to want to tire him out. But he's going to have to do it with... Yeah.
For what I've been watching a few highlights. I haven't studied him that deeply and lately. And of course, my memory is going as I'm getting older. But I don't remember Joshua being an effective and efficient fast starter. His twitch muscles, you're right. They're going to have that energy when he first gets in there because they're fresh. Carbs are still in there. Everything's loaded up. No energy's been dispersed yet. And not only they haven't been dispersed, they're, like I said, they're fresh and full of fuel. They're not tightening up because they're not working yet. But after the first couple rounds, if he starts slow, which he likes to do, how much longer are they going to be effective? Probably longer. If he goes out quickly, which is what I think you're alluding to for Usyk to make him go out and start quickly and use those muscles quicker, he can burn out faster because, like you said, those carbs start to go, you're burning them, the muscles start to tighten up because you're working them, and you're in a fight, you're getting hit also, so they tend to cramp up sometimes if they're worked the right way. That will play a factor.
It's like maybe Anthony Joshua has like a good, 15 to 20 explosions in his body where he can explode with power. So if, I don't know, that's just a number that I threw out there. But if he misses on a lot of those or most of those, that's where Usyk's going to make his money. If Joshua lands with those explosions, then that could be telling for the judges.
Exactly. Yes.
If Usyk could take away AJ's jab or limit it with that constant moving, darting in and out, doing that peacock that you was talking about, giving him something to think about, that'd be very interesting, right? Like how does he end up breaking down and then ultimately getting stopped? Because I could see him doing it that way. I could see him stopping him that way, but starting with taking away the jab from him.
Well, recognize, and those of you that have boxed, I think pretty much everyone here has boxed or at least sparred. There's something, I'll give you an anecdote. When I started boxing many years ago, one of the things I always liked to do before I even started boxing was that I like to jog a lot. I got that thin body. My father also was a long distance runner, although he's not as thin as I am, or naturally thin, I should say, because I'm fucking packing a lot of muscle lately. No, but seriously, I used to be able to. I can easily, if I start running 2 weeks in a row, I can jog around for an hour, long distance running. But then when I started boxing, I thought, oh well, I'm gonna be if I get into boxing shape and punch the bag and the mitts, I'm gonna be able to spar a lot. Well, lo and behold, I would get tired after 2.5 rounds. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Why? Because I wasn't doing those sprints, right? And so when I used to. I didn't know why I was getting tired so much, but it was a pain in the ass because when I would spar, I was conscious of not letting myself get tired. I was always saving something in the back burner. And I can't help but wonder if that something similar happens to Joshua, because he hasn't had a hard fight since 2019 when he lost to Ruiz. What if he starts getting tired and he doesn't know at that point if he's going to get his second win? That could
That's why it's up to Usyk, man, to do that. He's got to force him to get tired with obviously with the activities in the ring. I would stab him to the stomach. I would do not literally stab him, you know what I mean? But I would try to poke him in the stomach, keep keep trying to, give him different angles. Make sure that I'm winning the foot battle. If I need to step in, I'm stepping in only when AJ looks like he's off guard. You know what I'm saying? But keep darting at him in and out. Look, easier said than done, right? Because we look at Usyk and we say, oh, he could do that with no problem. Obviously, he's got to conserve his energy too.
Mm-hmm.
It works both ways, right? He's in there with a bigger man that potentially has the punching power to zap energy. You know what I'm saying? The punching power, a lot of times, people don't realize this. They just think, boom, you're out of there. No, it zaps energy too. It takes your energy away.
Exactly. And if Usyk can't outwork Joshua, then that's going to be trouble for him too. It might play a factor in his psychology as well. When it comes to the weaknesses for Usyk in this Junior Fa fight, there weren't that many, but some of them were telling. First of all, see again, jumping in. And this was in the 4th round, so again, pretty late in this fight, but I don't want to see that. Him jumping in, at least he changed the angle there a little bit by dipping to his right, but it's still...
Well, I don't mind him jumping in as long as it's calculated. You get what I'm saying? So,
sure.
He's not just totally disrespecting Fa. What he's setting up Fa for this like attack right here. Right? He's just not like Fa squared up and he's ready for what he's gonna do. No, he sees the moment. He's noticed that Fa has the habit of backing up as soon as the jab comes in this case, this weird angle. See, boom, he's kind of backing up and he's like, okay, I'm gonna give him the 1-2.
Yeah.
It's calculated. He's not disrespecting Fa, whatever
the Shah ran.
He's understood that his power is not there, or he's not, that Fa's not positioning his feet to throw back power, to counter back. But if that's Joshua, if he launches in like that, he can get countered by a right hand, a heavy right hand, straight right hand, or an upper.
Well, look at when he fought Breedis, and a totally different guy, right? When he was catching Breedis, everything was calculated, right? Because Breedis was a good counterpuncher, so he's kind of like counterpunching the counterpuncher, right? He understood. Okay, he got caught up with a couple of good shots. He was like, when I'm coming in with my 1-2s, I'm noticing that I'm getting caught, especially when I'm coming straight down the middle, right? Like he did there. And so he made an adjustment. He started making adjustments and depended more on his reflex, and pretty much won the fight. So the guys, to me, is as long as Usyk is thinking, he's thinking about what he wants to do against AJ, and AJ can't take that away from him. I think the more likelihood is Usyk wins the fight. He's got to like disorientate Usyk, and to the point where he's hurt. He's not thinking. He's trying to survive now.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he needs to shock Usyk with showing that he's got boxing skills that can rival his. If he can't do that, I think Usyk is gonna be more relaxed in there. Now, one thing.
Now, BDA, was that fight? Was that tournament a few years back? Actually, like 7 years back or something.
About 8 years ago. Yes.
Was that a 5-rounder?
Yes.
All right, because that might explain. I mean, like right there, that punch, he's putting nothing on that punch. I mean, he's literally almost off his both feet by the time it makes, like, see how it's coming off his feet? That's just a scoring punch. He's not looking to put anything behind that punch, obviously. And, well, he looked young, his face is there, yeah. But, so he's had 8 more years of professional training since then, too. But I understand why you're using this. I'm not just saying, saying we shouldn't use this video. I'm just saying
I think that's exactly what you're saying.
Doing different.
I think that's exactly.
Yeah, I might be doing a little shade at you, just a little.
No, but you know what though? It's interesting because people do say that. People say, "Well, this fight was 8 years ago." Because when we were watching the Joyce fight, which was in the same event, people said, "Well, Joyce has gotten better," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, but so has Usyk." Well, he didn't just stagnate.
It's funny. I'm looking at Usyk right here in the position that you have him in, and I'm looking at him. I'm saying, he some of the videos that I've seen, Usyk looks that big now. Right? So this fight is an amateur style in terms of rounds. It's not considered a professional fight. They have no headgear, and I'm assuming this would be super heavyweight, right? Because there's no way this guy's 201 pounds, Junior Fa.
Yeah, no, yeah, this is super heavyweight, I think, yeah.
Right.
Well, I
So
think they
I'm
call it
thinking
heavyweight.
Usyk's about 220 right here.
Jeez,
Looks
Louise.
220. Yeah.
And what is he now at? I think somebody's in the chat, 230 or something.
235 he went up to. Now I don't know if he's gonna be 235 in the ring. You get what I'm saying? Maybe he's gonna. Maybe that was like a mixture of eating and working out, but then he's gonna run it off or whatever, and maybe come in.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I can't see him coming in much more than 215, 220 because there would be so much more weight than he's used to fighting with. But I mean, 235, that's a big dude. And,
yeah, he's a big man.
I mean, that's if he comes in at 215, 220, that's Deontay Wilder's weight.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Fury last time. So,
hey, you know what, man? He's 6 feet 3 inches tall, so he's only 3 inches shorter than recognized. So I mean,
come on, man.
Just to put it into perspective, I'm just saying.
No, that's a good rumor. Thanks. Yeah, I am 6'6". You're right. Yeah.
All right, well, let's keep going with this here. See him jumping in. But now, this is the other thing, illustrating here. If he jumps in like that against Joshua, Joshua could catch him with a lead hand, with a check hook, or here, if he positions himself here, instead of, because you can see Fat continues to dip down. But Joshua, what he'll try to do is he'll sit down, like here, and then he'll try to spring back with a right uppercut. So that could be beaucoup trouble for Alexander Usyk. He's got to be mindful, very mindful. Here, just see him.
Beaucoup means big for people who don't speak Vietnamese.
Yeah, I'm going full metal jacket here.
Usually, I see that Usyk throws a lot of feints, and maybe he'll do like a little trial run where if he can see where he's going to test the waters to see if he can get away with that combination. In that instance, it was a 1-2-3, right? So I think that Joshua also has to do a good job of disguising what's he gonna do because he doesn't want to give it away in one of them trial runs. Where when Usyk does a little trial run, then Usyk explodes and misses with the combination because where Joshua misses with the combination because Usyk's gonna know that for the next time around, and he's gonna be cautious to try that again. Or if he does it, he's gonna know that okay, this guy's probably gonna miss an Anthony Joshua. So there's going to be a little bit of that, a little bit of a chess match.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Joshua's probably going to try to not show his cards right away. Because again, Joshua,
right.
Look, he's a very good boxer. He's got a boxing IQ as well. And I don't think people give him enough credit for it. So, he, like Gonzalo said, that's a very good point, man. He's probably going to not show all his best cards right away. By the way, somebody in the chat said, Anyway, somebody said something along the lines of Usyk beat Chisora and Witherspoon, therefore he beats Joshua. LOL. So, but listen, by that logic, then, but hold on. By that logic, then, Teofimo Lopez never should have beaten Lomachenko. So, I mean, I don't know what the point of that comment was, but it was very misjudged. You go ahead, Gonzalo. Sorry.
What's the saying? Playing possum. What does that mean?
It means you're
playing possum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, possums are
basically you're playing.
That tend to lay low and pretend like they're dead when they're really not.
Yes.
And then they can either attack at someone if they feel the necessary to, or they can run away when someone goes by.
Act like you're tired. Act like you're a little hurt. Act like you're a little confused when you're not. You know. Like or you're trying to set them up with a burst of punches. Maybe you know you could say possum in that sense.
Playing possum like Buffalo. You think so, Gonzalo? I think you might be right.
Because Usyk's gonna throw a lot of feints. So he's gonna throw a lot of feints to make you react, and based off your reactions, that's when he's gonna decide to commit. Based on the fact that you missed, or just have you fucking commit, and then he's gonna choose to attack whenever he wants. So he got to play a little possum too, Joshua. That way he conserves his energy.
Very good point, man. Very good point. And may I say that serial killers also play possum? It's a very good tactic. Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. Remember, he's pretending he's got a broken arm. He's trying to get the couch. By the way, who was moving a couch at 3 a.m? And how did he get?
What size are you anyway? After you box her into the
yeah.
You know you're screwed when someone corners you in a van and then asks what size dress you have on. You're done. You're done. That's it.
Yeah, game over. Yeah. All right, so let's continue. Now here you see Usyk getting lined up for a straight right there, so he kind of miscalculated the range a little bit. Step back, but still got clipped with that right. Now you better believe the judges are going to give him full they're probably going to give him the round to Joshua if he lands a shot like this. That's going to be like a 10-8 round, so Usyk really has to minimize the amount of right hands he takes. Here as well, but now Junior Fa is very conscious of the counter as well. So he's not really, doesn't seem like the hardest shot, but then again, as you can see, he's a big boy, and his shot is snapping Usyk's head back a little bit. But to Usyk's
heavy-handed.
Yes. Look at his legs too, man. This guy's got tree trunks for legs. It's a fucking sickening.
The big boy. Yeah, he's sure he's 6'5".
Yeah, that's what BoxRec says.
Sometimes he looks taller than that when I look. You know.
Hey, shout out
to big boy anyway.
Shout out to Felipe Percha, who's just joining us here in the chat room. Shout out to Felipe Percha. All right, so he's taking the right here. Come on. All right, so here is Usyk, see, cutting the ring off, pressuring the big guy, and whoop, did you see that? Got a little too relaxed. Didn't see that right hand coming. Look at that. Punching through the target, thankfully for Usyk that he missed with that right hand, but boy, oh boy, he was in range for it, and he did not see it coming.
Slight little slip. The punch went past him. It went past the target.
Did he?
I thought he moved his head just an inch to the right, and then I turned my phone sideways, and I could see the fact that nope, it was just poorly timed. That would have landed if that guy would have actually kept his eyes on the target and not put his head down.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. This one didn't really land. Did it? Hold on, let me see. Slow motion. I landed.
But even if it did, it took something away, right? By him backing the way he backed up. You know, it took something away from that punch.
Yeah, but hey, listen, the judges, they're gonna. I'm adamant about that. It's
yeah, I know, but if I'm Usyk, I'm not even worried about that, right? I'm trying to fight my fight, which is to break down Usyk. AJ, excuse me.
Yeah, you're right. Here
I'm trying to overload his brain.
Now here, this is something that Usyk is gonna have to be careful of. If he gets this close to Joshua, Joshua's gonna do what Faz doing here. That lead hand behind the back of the head, and try to pull him down for one of those vicious uppercuts. Now here, Fa didn't go for the uppercut, but he did go for a combination. One of the rare combinations he threw in the fight, I believe. So Usyk, if Usyk gets too close, man, to Joshua, Joshua's just gonna try to lean on it. He's gonna turn into Vladimir Klitschko essentially. Another little right hand there. See that right hand sort of pierced the guard there. And drove him back. Right to the body. This was another right to the body. Hold on. Yeah, this one. Hey, do you guys think it would be this is a good move for Joshua to just bust his chest up? Try to hit him on the shoulder, anywhere he can?
Yeah, if it's there. If it's there for him. You can see that he could punch him in the chest. Pretty good, you know. Maybe not get caught with a counter shot. I would do it.
There you go.
Whatever presents itself, right? Like we go into these fights, people go into these fights and they got a game plan. But then maybe that game plan doesn't work out right away and you got to do some adjustments because the fight is showing you something different than what you were studying for.
Yeah, good point, man. Good point. Here you see Usyk stepping in there with the jab, catches him with a little flicking jab, but then Fa tries to exchange with him, comes in with a 3-punch combination, and that right hand didn't really land flush, but it did push him back. That's what Joshua's going to have to do. Every time Usyk steps in, try to shock him with counter shots so that Usyk's the one that becomes hesitant to jump in. But then again, like we saw in the Joyce fight, Usyk is not averse to trading with bigger men and actually getting the best of it, so it could work both ways there. We'll have to see on fight night. But yeah, throw combinations, man. See there again.
And,
yeah, go ahead.
And if he gets the best of some of these exchanges by being the last, especially if he's first and last, if he's initiating it with the jab, whether it's range finding, touching the chest and shoulder or not, you know, then gets in there and he's the last one punching before he moves, that will make Joshua think. And this pressure that we're talking about putting on him doesn't have to be coming forward. It doesn't have to be I'm walking you down. It can be, oh man, he got the better of me there. 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 After 4 rounds of that, oh man, I got to catch up. I've got to catch up. It starts to weigh on you, especially since you think you're supposed to be the bigger guy that should win with a Wilder or Fury fight on the other end. Oh my God, I'm, Sugar Ray Leonard, I'm blowing it. That can wear you out too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Makes you act more desperate, right? Take more chances and maybe miss bigger.
Exactly. And you know what? There's a precedent for that because we saw it in the Andy Luis fight. After he got hurt, his whole plan went to shambles. Now, here in this clip here, you see Usyk stepping in, trying to go with the left to the body. He gets almost clipped with the right, but then as he's coming up here, there's not much he can do, and he's right in line for a left hook. Now, it was a shitty left hook, excuse my language, from Fab, especially since he's got all his weight in the back foot. He's leaning back, so there's nothing much there. But Joshua actually is pretty good at catching you with the right, and then with the left hook, as the left hook lands, even if it's not a hard left hook, he'll just slap you away and pivot at the same time away from Usyk. So if he's trying to draw Usyk in, like Gonzalo said, and play possum, this would be a good move he could probably pull off against Usyk, especially when Usyk's just covering up like here.
Funny how quickly things change. Because when the one you were just showing us, Usyk his feet were squared up for a second, but then once he put his feet in just the right place, Fa was the one that was squared up. So here, he's square. Now he's set, and now Fa's squared up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's because he's going away, so he's trying to, like, shuffle away, I think. No, he's not shuffling away, you're right, yeah. He's squared up.
That angle cut real quick. I'm squared, I put my foot back. Now I'm at angled. It's just quick geometry. Now you're not. You're square. You got to move. There we go.
Now here, this is the only uppercut of significance that Fa landed, but Joshua has a very good uppercut, deadly, I might say. And so what happened, actually, let's look at it in real time and then rewind it. Another time in real time. Okay. So Usyk steps in with the jab, he was stepping with the jab, stepped back from the right, and sort of tried to set him up for that left there, as you can see. And he went to the body, but he sort of stepped in a little bit too much, just covering up. Fa, as he switched his weight over to the right, so he sees Usyk covering up, and boom. It could have been worse for Usyk, especially if Fa would have used that lead hand right there to push him down towards the punch, like AJ likes to do. But it was a pretty good cover from Usyk, but still, Joshua has a better uppercut, and he's dirty on the inside. And if he catches him with a flush uppercut and that stuns him, for a fact Joshua likes to throw that uppercut, left hook, and then a right hand. So
where's this fight going to take place?
The UK.
Yeah, so no referee is going to warn him for holding behind the head and throwing an uppercut.
No. In fact, he did it a couple of times against Pulev, and there was no warning that I can remember.
Right. When it comes to British fighters and doing that, nobody in America reprimanded Lennox Lewis either for knocking out Michael Grant with a foul.
Exactly.
But, he was going to win the fight anyway, don't get me wrong. So if Stu's listening and wants to chime in, he was going to win the fight anyway. But the fight ended on, holding behind the head and hitting with the other. But and if it's a habit of Joshua to do that, and the fight's going to be in the UK, the referee is not going to warn or penalize or even pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something I'm worried about. And some people are saying, "Oh, you're already making an excuse for Usyk." First of all, it's not about making excuses; it's about a reality. It's like when Canelo fought Triple G the first time, and almost everybody here was saying, in the community was saying, there's no way Triple G gets a decision in Vegas. And then, lo and behold, what happened? He didn't get the decision, despite the fact that virtually almost everybody knew he should have won the fight. So it's a reality. It's boxing politics. What do you want?
Yeah, listen, Usyk's going to have to really win the fight, if you get what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm not saying he has to knock him out, but he's going to have to, dominate where, they I don't think we should pull a fast one because everybody's going to see it. They do it anyway sometimes, right? So I'm not going to say that it's out of the realm, but he just needs to dominate this fight.
Well, to the member in the chat that's saying this in regards to if they're making it towards what I was saying about the uppercut and the holding, if he's already got a pattern of doing it throughout his career and almost every one of his fights has been in Britain and he hasn't been warned or disqualified or even deducted a point yet, then I think it speaks for itself that Usyk's going to have to watch out for it because nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep, I agree. I agree with that.
Someone's being dirty to you, be dirty back. So if Usyk should keep it in the back of his mind to whack him in the balls if Josh was leaning on him. Or like Lomachenko doesn't. No, remember when somebody tries to
I like when Lomachenko does it.
Yeah, he whacks guys with like a
right, so you're holding them, right? You're holding them. You're trying to hold them by the head, and he's with the free hand, with his free hand that he has, whether it's his right or his left. He's just throwing punches because that's legal. That is a legal punch, unless the referee says stop. Right? If the referee says stop, then you stop. But if you're holding me, I'm not holding you. I'm not going to hold you back. I'm just going to. If my idea is to punch you as many times as possible, it makes you think, right? It makes you think that I'm trying to, like, you want to play dirty. I'm gonna not play dirty, but I'm just gonna punch you when you're unexpected, when you're thinking that the action is supposed to stop.
Mm-hmm,
and that's what Mayweather. That's what Maidana did to Mayweather in the first fight. Every time Mayweather would grab his right arm or his left arm, he'd just kind of rear back with his right and start throwing hooks to the body with his right hand because it was a free hand. And you're allowed to work your way out of a clinch unless the referee says stop.
Yep.
Or unless Kenny Bayless is your referee.
All right, so let's keep on going here. Okay. So now this is just...
Really? Crickets for that one? I thought I would have at least got a chuckle.
Well, wait. Why'd you repeat it?
I said, unless the referee says stop, I said, or unless Kenny Bayless is the referee.
Oh, okay. See, I missed it. Yeah, good old Kenny Bayless, man. With Mayweather, there's no way Mayweather can lose a fight with Bayless in his corner, or in the middle of the ring, rather. Now here we have Usyk feinting, walking the bigger guy down, and essentially, like I said, making himself a bigger target, cutting the ring off too, as well as you can see here. He did the same thing to Joe Joyce after he stunned him with a couple of shots. So Usyk can fight both ways, man. He can run around the ring like he did against Chisora, or he can put pressure on. See there? And now that could be suffocating because, again, as the bigger man, if you're getting backed up by a guy that's, because Usyk's not really a fucking slugger, or he's not known for it, and yet here he is, you can see him cutting the ring off and just getting in and out, playing with that lead hand. He'll punch you, then he'll get out of the way, punch you, get out of the way, and then he'll come back to putting pressure. That could tire Joshua out. He's never seen... Now, people are going to say, well, why didn't he do this to Chisora? Because Chisora's a different type of guy. The guy's a bear. He's a grizzly bear that's just coming at you. And Usyk said, I gotta fight this guy as if I'm Floyd Mayweather. But against guys like Fa and Joyce, taller guys, he feels that he can catch him with those straight overhand shots as well. And speaking of those shots, here we go with his offense. Yeah.
That plain peacock. We're using all these animal terms. Peacock, possum. That plain peacock. It also it can go against him because there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes in his game right there.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't play that game back and forth, playing into what Usyk is doing. If he's playing peacock and raising up his arms and the body shot is there for Anthony Joshua, I would try committing to that. I would try committing instead of playing these back and forth games with Usyk. I'll try committing, but if I see a hole, I gotta be pretty sure of myself that I can land that shot.
He calls his stuff peacock. I call my stuff big cock. That's what I call mine.
Oh, come on. Now, wait a minute. See, now this is it's a family show. What's the matter with you?
Sorry. I'm kidding.
That
was a bad joke. Poor taste.
All right, so here you see Usyk using that lead hand to check hook Fa, and it's actually it's a wide shot, but you can see it's shocking. Fa there, boom. See there how he actually shakes him up a little bit. And again, it's setting traps with his body. So he's leaning forward, making it seem as if there's something to be hit there. Then he'll just step back, makes a fat overcommit, and catches him with that overhand right. And then tries to set him up for that left. So there is So Joshua could possibly counter him here. So if he knows, okay, let me just throw a left, wait for him to come in with his combination, and as soon as he throws a left, let me catch him with the right. But it's gonna be.
He's a poker. You notice that? Usyk is like a poker. He pokes at your body. It's like he's trying to fucking stab you.
Yeah.
We see Usyk squaring up a lot, and he's trying to use the two hands to see what side is vulnerable by doing the same thing repetitively to get the other guy to attack. And once the other guy attacks a certain way, he says to himself, I see a weakness. But the difference with Joshua is that he punches hard with both hands. So it's going to be kind of hard for him to certainly know for sure which side is the weak side. Because when he tries doing that and commits, man, like I said, he can play possum all of a sudden. Instead of throwing a weak left hand, he could throw a power left hand, and that's just his jab hand. And he punches hard with both hands. So there's definitely not going to be like a weak side that he can attack Joshua if Joshua decides to commit with either hand.
And if you look at Joshua, even when he's winning, and if he somehow past 4 or 5 rounds, he starts breathing hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'll be paying attention to, man. The breathing hard. Obviously, everything is one step at a time. I get in the ring, see what he's presenting to me. I'm looking at it that way. I'm sure that's what Usyk is thinking in his mind, right? And especially fight night, everything starts clicking in. But I would be paying attention definitely to his condition. First 4 or 5 rounds.
Big factor. Big factor. Now, one way to tire Joshua out would be, again, if he's cutting the ring off here, see how Junior Fast moving. Now, hold on, which clip was it? Okay, it was a clip before where he's, hold on, let me see if it's here. He's sort of chasing him down. Yeah, here. See how catches him with the right, jumps in. Whoa, look at Junior Fast. See how much energy he's wasting just leaning down, trying to see the shot, nothing's coming, and meanwhile Usyk's nice and relaxed. He's just darting in, and now he can do that all night. This is a type of yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's the type of thing. Joshua's gonna have to stay composed and not lose his cool.
Yep.
That's Usyk's best power right there. Best power punch. The one he's throwing. It looks like a slap, but it's not. He throws a lot of speed behind it, and he turns it over.
That's right.
It's really subtle.
Yeah, it's all the torque in the wrist of turning it all the way over.
Yeah, and he doesn't telegraph it at all.
Nope.
Yep. He's got strong forearms, strong wrist. That's what I'm talking about. This is strong. He does that kind of like Lomachenko.
That's right.
Well, his dad did train him for a while.
Yep. Remember that guy that called it? Who's the heavyweight Lomachenko? I'm like, the other fucking Ukrainian. What do you want me to tell you, bro? He's like, nah, that's not what I mean. I'm like, well, I don't know what else to tell you.
I mean, does anybody see a few similarities here? He doesn't fight just like Lomachenko, but there's some similarities here.
Sure,
and
yeah.
We can see some of these right here.
They're ambush fighters. One is more vicious, I would say, and that's Lomachenko. That has to do with size, maybe. The size of opponents that he's in there with. Versus Usyk, who's in there with guys 20, 30 pounds heavier, so maybe he's got to be a little different about it.
But you know what, though? It's interesting because Usyk is Joshua's gonna have to avoid doing this. Like I said before, Joshua likes to lean back and then circle away. But if he's fighting, look at how quickly Usyk cuts the distance here. So
and Joshua's a better fighter, we know this, but his feet are not the fastest. Just because he's got more explosive power shots doesn't mean he's going to be able to get out of the way faster, having to go off the back foot, moving out of the way, unless he thinks he can take these punches. And if he can take them early, given accumulation can get to anybody, but if he can take them early, much like on the lower weight when Walma Lopez was fighting some of those guys at 122, they couldn't hurt him, so he didn't mind taking those shots. It caught up with him later in his career, but it didn't bother him. So if Joshua thinks that these punches aren't going to hurt me, and he takes them and doesn't have to worry about backing up too much, then, how quickly he comes in with some of his punches won't matter, or Usyk comes in won't matter. But if he is worried about his chin because of the Andy Ruiz fight and because he's been hurt before, then the accumulation can catch up to him, and his slow feet backing up can be a hindrance.
Yeah, I wouldn't even try moving away that much against Usyk because I can see now that when this fighter moves away, Usyk, he moves in really fast. He covers that ground. And when you're moving away, you're not planting your feet and you're more vulnerable because you're not ready. And if the other guy's faster on the feet, he's gonna take more punches as he's moving back.
So, Gonzo, I got a question. Theoretically speaking, by strategy, are you suggesting that Joshua, if he's tough enough to take what Usyk's got and he's not worried about what's coming at him, should he fight more like a wall and just make him run into him and tie up and maybe walk him backwards?
Shell up a little bit when you know what Usyk is doing. That he's gonna dart in and out and not just throw one punch. He's gonna throw a volley, like a 1-2-1. So right. I would just shell up and I would bend my waist to the right or to the left and try to find an opening, like an uppercut.
But instead of giving ground, he should be more like a wall of run right into me. I'm solid, and then is that what you're suggesting? You see what I'm saying?
Partially, or bend my waist and have him go like a bull in a bullfighter, where he goes where he goes past you, where he goes. Just take a step to the right or a step to the left, and pivot and have him just go past.
Okay.
Or just do the best you can at him doing that, where he's gonna miss you by you getting out of his way when he's coming at you. But not just get out of his way. Get out of his way while throwing a punch or two.
Okay.
You guys got it all wrong. Roy Jones. Roy Jones is gonna give you an advice. Ready? AJ has to be AJ. Usyk has to be Usyk.
Okay. Oh man.
Wow. Yeah, you sound like somebody else. You sound like somebody else I know that we've talked about earlier today, Frank.
I am him. I'm doing this. I'm doing this expression right now.
There's only one of those guys.
Now
I just dropped the gem for you guys. Okay, Usyk got to be Usyk. AJ got to be AJ.
Oh, with Lennox Lewis. Remember Lennox Lewis too when he used to commentate for HBO. He goes, "Does Jermaine Taylor have to punch more? Definitely has to punch more." That's it. You're supposed to add some expert commentary. Man.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
When you're an Olympic gold medalist and multiple-time heavyweight champion, they don't use the word fired when they let you go. But,
no.
Let's just say his contract wasn't up when they decided to move on.
Yeah, they chose not to re-sign him.
Fighters don't make good commentators, and they don't really make good trainers either.
Well, somebody mentioned
not
too
all
the fact that
there's exceptions, but not many.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned that because there's certain fighters that's why I don't really like interviewing current fighters, because they're very hesitant about talking shop with you because they're some of them are paranoid about letting their tricks go, and then at the same time, a lot of them don't watch other fighters. They'll watch the fighters that are in their weight class, but other than that, a lot of these guys they don't watch. They play video games, they go buy cars and shit like that, but they're not actual a trainer or an old fighter. That's where it's at, because retired fighters, they've already left their career behind. They're pretty honest about it. But current fighters, it's a little more. It's a different thing. Now, one thing here you can notice here, coming in, overcommitting with a right. Usyk just slips it, comes in with a left. Now again, it's not a perfect left because it's sort of like the arm is already extended a little bit there. The elbow is not fully.
He's also backing up when he throws it, so it's not going to have the same weight on it.
Right. Still, though, because it's a short punch, look at Fah's chin. See that?
It's still pretty strong because he. How can I describe this? So when he's backing up, he's still like is able to put some torque in it with the twist of his waist because of the way his back foot is positioned. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So he's while backing up, kind of like Manny Pacquiao, the way he knocked out Hatton, right?
Yeah.
He steps in a little bit. He dips, just like he kind of slips a punch, like he's backing up, and then just lets that fucking left hand just rip at the same time. It's athletic ability, man. It's this tremendous athletic ability. That's what that is.
He's turning his torso into it, and you can see the guy's got pretty wide traps. It's almost like a bear digging up a boulder,
While backing up, Gonzalo. Yeah. While backing up, like he can just put a pause on that shit real quick and then just turn into a punch. It's amazing, yeah. I mean, people could do it. You can train yourself to do it. It's not like, only Usyk could do that or Pacquiao. You can train yourself to do that, but to have the instinct to do it in a fight pretty much means you practice it a million times.
Yeah, that's hours and hours of doing that in the gym.
Yep.
Well, there's a reason why this guy is a gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist, undisputed cruiserweight champ, and undefeated. I mean, this is a guy that's worked on his technique, and he's just a natural at it as well. It's just everything. He's a whole package when it comes to boxing. So here he's snapping fast head back. Now again, putting the pressure, backing the bigger guy up. I think
even Hurt fought there. I think he hurt him with the punch that earlier I was talking about. I believe he kind of hurt him a little bit. Well, at least that one did for sure.
Well, look at this here. He's got him running.
Yeah.
This type of pressure is what tires you out, because these motherfuckers see what Fa is doing here is indicative of a man that's out of ideas. He's moving, leans in down and tries to just smother Usyk, but Usyk doesn't let him, because see, like Usyk stops and then pivots away.
Yeah.
That's
reminiscent of Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua 1, right, BDA?
A little bit. Because Ruiz wasn't putting this type of pressure. He was just stepping back. I mean, when I say stepping back, I'm not saying he was moving back, but he was staying in front of Joshua, waiting for Joshua to commit, and then he would do that lean back thing he does, and then counters with those hooks of his. You know what? Ruiz is a lot like a heavyweight version of Danny Garcia, except he leans back more. But
it's it's a good comparison.
There you see Usyk again leading in there with those. A little inside game there as well. Leaning in with those lefts. Just spot shotting him. This I think he's going to try to do if he's got AJ tired.
Yeah.
Spot shot and get out of the way. Very Roy Jones-esque too.
Yep.
See that this sequence here. Hold on. It was this one here. Again, he's peacocking in and out. Steps in there. Oh, look at that. Look at all those feints, like Chief was saying. He's got the right hand extended. You don't know if he's going to jab. Oh, is he going to... Remember the jabs he was landing earlier. So he feints as if he's about to throw the jab. Fa doesn't know what the fuck's coming. Finally unleashes a jab. Makes Fa come in. Steps back and then hits him with the left. I mean, just a beautiful sequence right here.
Mm-hmm.
See how distracts him, pivots around him while he's ducking down, steps back because he thought maybe Fa was trying to smother him, but as he's stepping back, he also creates distance for this left, and it, boom, pierces the guard as well. So again, when people say, well, he's not going to be able to hurt Joshua, he's hurting a big guy here, piercing his guard.
Yeah, man.
So this whole thing about how he's not going to be able to hurt Joshua, I mean,
I think he could, man. Especially as the fight goes on.
I'm not saying for a second he's not going to be able to stun Joshua, possibly on several occasions. Is he going to be able to have the strength inside of everything that Joshua's going to be coming at him with his body and his arms to try and tie up, and everything else to floor him or finish him off? And I'm not saying he can't, but that's the question. I mean, can he stun him? Can he catch him with a good shot right on the chin that Joshua doesn't see from an angle he doesn't see? Absolutely. I have no doubts that can happen. I have no doubts. I have few doubts it's going to happen. I have questions to know how he's going to be able to capitalize on it when it happens.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I would be very surprised if he stops Joshua clean with clean shots. But he's trying to hear, slips the right, another left, follows it up with a right, left, right, jumping in, trying to get at Fa, and then a straight left. Not much landing clean, but he's putting pressure on the bigger guys. And listen, a big guy like Fa's not used to being on the defensive this much. Tires those guys
especially against a guy smaller than him.
Exactly, who's coming at him from all angles. See, look at that left hand. Boom, snapping his head back. That hurts. It's a 217-pound guy hitting you with that shot. And snapping the head back. Of course it's gonna hurt.
And of course, if Joshua leaves any kind of these openings, and he's a better fighter than Paul. We've said this numerous times to everybody listening. We believe that with all of our hearts. But if he leaves these kind of openings when he's backing up, leaving his left up like that, instead of always going for the head, and if he's going backwards like Joshua likes to do, throw a body shot in there. Throw a right hook to the body or towards the kidney, because it's not an intentional kidney shot. It's just where it's going to land. Throw an occasional straight left either the solar plexus or right at the belly button. Throw these shots every once in a while where Joshua's going to start never knowing where he's going to need to leave his hands, because when you're going backwards, getting hit with a shot at any time, unless you completely you're rolling away from it, it's going to make you further off balance. So if you throw him to the body shot too, that's only going to weaken you and put you off balance.
Exactly.
I think like the classic just boxer that always wins, guy like Usyk. Got to stop him from dictating the pace. Got to stop. That's the key. I notice in every fight, he's always dictating pace, always dictating everything. I've seen some moments where he's like with Chisora, where he's like backing up. He's doing a lot of backing up, and you got to keep him like that. You got to keep him like that. You can't have him, controlling what's happening in the ring, because it's hard to outpoint a guy like that.
Exactly.
But he seems to be one of these fighters, and the fighters are going to compare him against. Some people are going to go crazy into the chat, so just bear with the whole thing. Like a Tony, like a Hopkins, like a Floyd, to where no matter what you do, you're still fighting his fight. I mean, to take him out of fighting his fight, you have to take yourself out of all of yours altogether, because everything he does is so fundamentally sound. If you're going to try and counter it with any kind of actual typical boxing skill, you're still fighting his fight. So you have to
it also seems to me that if you allow him to, he's like a momentum fighter. If he gains more traction, if he starts gaining momentum, that feeds the way he feels. It gives him, strength, and it gives him the ability to land his combos too.
Yep, but it gives him the confidence for him to say, all right, I got away with 3 punches at a time. I'm going to try 4 or 5 now.
And don't forget, when we're talking about the stylistic matchups here, when Usyk had his toughest fights in the cruiserweight division, that was against Brady's and against Michael Hunter. Hold on a second.
He almost killed Hunter in the end.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he was used to boxing people, right? And then when he saw he couldn't cleanly outbox Hunter, he put his hands up and just walked him down. Same thing with Brady's. He wasn't outboxing him as clean as he wanted to. So what did he do? He says, okay, I got to go into the trenches and beat this guy. So he now obviously I don't think he's gonna do that against Joshua, but it just goes to show you that he's willing to switch to whatever style he needs in order to win. And against Joshua, believe it or not, I think he should turn a little bit into what we saw him do in this fight, here and in the Joyce fight. Turn into a peacock and walk the bigger guy down. Because in the beginning it's gonna be rough, but little by little,
it's like he has like an adjustment for every fighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like you said with Hunter, it was like, okay, maybe he said to himself, I can't outbox this guy that easily, so I'm gonna beat him up now. I'm gonna start beating him up. And then with Breedis, it was like, okay, he's pretty good counterpuncher. He's answering everything back. I'm just gonna start out punching him. Just gonna get in the trenches and just out punch him. In other words, like counterpunching the counterpuncher at the same time. So he's got because of all that amateur experience, you got to think to yourself, this guy's seen every style. and he's seen it more than once. He's seen it more than once.
When you got 350 amateur fights, whether you've won them all or not. And let's look at some of the people he's been in with. I mean, Kobarov that fought Charlo was a world class contender. He fought Betabiev. He fought Sean Porter. He fought a lot of these guys in the amateurs. He lost to some of them, like Sean Porter. But look what he grew into. He may have been having trouble making weight back then. No excuses, but he moved on from a middleweight into a heavyweight, whereas Sean Porter stayed a middleweight. So there, the point is,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm caught up in
the quality of competition he's faced throughout his career, from amateur Olympic level to now, has been pretty much cream of the crop the whole time. And you were going to make a point, Frank.
Yeah, so I'm looking at some of the highlights with Chisora, and I remember the fight, obviously. Chisora's trying to what Chisora is trying to do is fight his fight. In other words, dictate pace. Usyk knows that, right? So Usyk is like, at moments he's moving back a lot. That's not his real strong suit. It's when he stops and he's able to catch him with a pop shot. In other words, I can't allow you to dictate pace in the fight. You get what I'm saying? So he can't allow that to happen. At moments he has to, because Chisora's coming with a different trajectory. He's got a different type of body frame, and if you're not careful, he could hurt you really bad. And Usyk is aware of this, but he never loses track of, I gotta maintain ring general. I gotta control the fight.
Yeah, so
I just gotta do it a little different. I just gotta do it a little different, right? And in this case, it's just like wait until Chisora gets his punches off and catch him with a couple of good counters, poking shots that's gonna get Chisora's attention. Because I think he feels backing up against Chisora is the danger zone for him. That's his mindset.
Well, let me give you an example of that. Recognize. See here, this late in the fight, he's walking Chisora down because now he got him tired. And he did do that in certain spots. He was trying to walk Chisora down. So he's got him in the corner. Chisora is smart, playing possum. Loads her upper right hand, misses. But Usyk stays in there and catch. Now, of course, it's a bad punch because he sort of see how his foot was all over the place.
He's kind of punching. It's like shooting, and you're the driver and you're fucking trying to shoot out your window at the same time.
Right, but the point is that, like what you said, he's trying to get his back. He's trying to say, look, if we get into an exchange, I'm walking away with the last punch. You know what I mean? Yep. And it's a clean...
He's also showing us his athleticism. I mean, look what I can do. Mm-hmm. This isn't going to hurt because it goes against all the laws of physics. But I still have the capability of hitting you when I shouldn't be able to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
You see how he went from backing up, and now I'm taking back the ring general. I'm taking back the power position. I got to be in the power position.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at my best, and I can hit you with big shots. But at the same time, cautious because Chisora is, he's shorter, but he's got the bigger frame body. He's the stronger guy. Naturally, because of that,
he had a 38-pound weight advantage in this fight.
Okay, 38 pounds, right? So
I mean,
significant, yeah, right. What was basically Usyk was 220. That guy was 260 in the ring.
Jeez.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Mr. E for his contribution with the super chat. Says, how long can a peacock poke a bear? What's he talking about?
A peacock poke a bear.
Is that an old joke or what?
No, I don't know. It just sounds funny.
Sounds
the
like
weight
something
difference was 255 to 217.
Right, that's 38 pounds. That's basically 40 pounds.
Chisora's trying to smother Alexander Usyk, and Usyk is fighting back to try to tell him, you know what, man? Hey, buddy, get off me, because if you're on me, I'm going to hit you every which way I can.
Right.
And by doing that, Usyk feels more comfortable with that. He's not getting controlled. That's what he wants. He wants space to work.
I like that fight.
To get that momentum.
I don't know about you guys, but I like that fight. I thought this was a very good, he lost rounds. Usyk, right? He probably lost like 3 rounds that I remember. if that. But you had to see Usyk make adjustments in the ring. You know, he had to make adjustments in the ring. You know, I maintain that he's always battling for ring generalship. That's his thing. He wants to control the action in the ring, in the middle of the ring, center of the ring. And exactly. he had to battle for this one. He had to be real smart because Chisora outweighs him close to 40 pounds. He could chin check him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I like the style. I like the Chisora style, right? Joe Frazier.
Yeah, he's doing the Joe Frazier, but here's the thing, Gonzalo, a bigger version of Joe Frazier.
Has Usyk ever been knocked out? Has anybody ever heard, like, even in the minors?
I don't know. Maybe when he was younger. He could have been stopped when he was younger, maybe. But
nothing like in the pros, nothing you don't hear about anything?
No. Nothing at the higher. And I, like, think of Olympics. You know who dropped him, Jimmy? Beterbiev.
Yeah, was that what it was?
It was an amateur fight. I think they fought 3 times. Don't quote me on this. 3 times, and Usyk 2-1 them, right? So I don't know.
I wish there was some video on it because you'd see if it was just a flash knockdown. If it was like his feet were crossed up. Like, all right, for instance, a perfect example of that.
I'm going to tell you right now. They missed the knockdown. He got knocked down by Glowacki in the last round. That, to me, that was a knockdown.
Okay, I don't even remember that fight, damn.
He was a little off balance, but he got caught to the body, and it started the off balance, and he fell. I mean, that's a knockdown. Am I right? If I punch you,
absolutely. If your foot touches together, if he hits you, you can punch somebody in the arm. If they go down, it's a knockdown. You know what I mean? There's nothing tied into like somebody's concussion level. So a knockdown just took them off their feet.
Yeah, in my opinion, he's been dropped as a pro, and that was against Glowacki from what I saw.
Because, like I was going to say, when you do a video, probably do a film study if you do the plant thing. Him dropping Usaki, that's a perfect one. Of catching a guy with his feet crossed.
Right.
His feet not ready. Like when you see that knockdown, and then of course Plant walks away, sugar daddy in his shoulders. He does a little wiggle. You clown. Caught the dude off balance. Jimmy, wasn't hurt, but anyway.
Jimmy, I get the impression you don't like Plant.
I don't like anybody who's won the sweepstakes because they got a trinket. Listen, Triple G would be a better fight at 40 years old, more competitive than this, and everybody knows it. It's just Canelo's got the fucking say, and he's grabbing. I know this is about this film site, so I don't want to go off on that tangent, but it is what it is. It's I don't have respect for him, dude, the way he's handled his career. The people he's fought.
Talking about Sweet Cheeks?
Yeah, Sweet Cheeks, yeah, dude. It's an abomination. His resume is a fucking joke. Fucking vanilla rice.
Gonzalo just throws that out there. Are you talking about Sweet Cheeks?
Yeah, Sweet Cheeks, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, listen, I mean, that was it for the film analysis. I was just going back to the Chisora highlights here, but...
I'm going to watch that fight again, BDA, later on. The Chisora. There was a lot of good action that I saw. Maybe you just picked out the good parts, but there was a lot of good action that I forgot happened in the fight.
Yeah, Usyk moved a lot in this one, and one of the reasons why a lot of people derided him for, criticized him for this fight was because I think they expected him to really put a beating on Chisora.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's expectation.
Yeah, I was disappointed with his performance in that. I thought he could have done I thought he was almost too respective of the power. Yeah, it just didn't look. I expected more. That's right. I'll just say it. Especially after you go back and look at the other fights at cruiserweight.
Hey, Jimmy, maybe that's why he's putting on weight now, right? Not necessarily for AJ. He's saying, man, what you're saying. I respect.
Oh yeah, he's probably trying to get rounds. Rounds at that weight. Exactly. Get his body accustomed to the weight.
Yeah.
And I understand. I was just being a bitchy. I just wanted to see more of a blood. I'm a savage. But I'm always hoping somebody's trying to knock somebody out. But no, I agree that he needs to fucking do things that Joshua doesn't expect. He needs to be more aggressive, especially in the early rounds. Always catch a fighter, because if Joshua was going in and he's reading everything, of course everybody's saying Usyk's footwork and his higher boxing skills. So I'm sure And well, if he has smart people around him, he's going to say, expect anything. Don't go in there thinking this kid's going to dance all around.
You see how
He might try to catch you early because Joshua has been knocked out. So you know what I mean. He might try to catch him early.
He doesn't want to be doing that, right? You can just tell right away. He's like, okay, it's almost like he has to do that, right? He's feeling the punches of Chisora and the way he's coming in, but at the same time, man, he's not like one of these boxers that I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go on my bike and try to win on points. Nah. He's not.
Yeah. I know a lot of people said, they compare, like, talking about bike. I see a lot of people, oh, no, Billy Joe Saunders wasn't that bad against Lemieux. That motherfucker ran a lot, too, that night. I know he put a lesson on that fucking thick-headed Frenchman, but,
oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, dude, I didn't like the way he ran that night. I thought he ran a lot, too.
And I hated the comparison to Triple G's performance. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Triple G didn't run. He just stood his ground and fucking kept the jab in his face.
Yeah, taking half a step back to land a counter jab is not running.
That's not running.
I mean, he moved a lot.
Moving to avoid engaging, that's running.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. This is if I go to this clips here, by the third round, he stopped moving. He started actually, see this? This is the fourth round. He's actually standing right in front of Chisora and backing him up. He'll move a lot, but as soon as Chisora misses, he'll move right back in front of him. So he's not continually moving around like Rigondeaux did against
it's like what Precise said. Precise considers, and I kind of agree with this, he considers Usyk a knockout artist, right? So he's not a, bam, here it is, you're going to sleep, right? He's not that type of guy. But he's an ambush fighter that's trying to set the knockout up.
Exactly.
And I know in his mind, he's trying to find a position where he could let off big shots and hurt Chisora. Hurt him. In his mind, he's probably like, look, I just want to hurt him. If it ends up stopping him, that was the game plan. That was the whole idea.
Yeah, he's going through the knockout through the boxing route, trying to use all his fundamentals, and if the knockout comes, it comes. Where other guys who have his power just go in there and they got more of a chip on their shoulder and they're like, I just want to knock this dude out, and everything they do is into that end goal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that's, they can cost you rounds that way. But no, if I was in Usyk's corner, I would definitely say, dude, throw, first half of the first round, throw everything 65, 70%. And then when you get your first chance to lay something with your feet in the right position, put it all on it. Try to catch him cold before he gets his second wind or his sweat going.
Yep.
That's what I would tell him. Because you can rock him. You rock him in that big, it's hard to come back. You take him a few rounds, and if you get him rocked early, that's when you can do some damage. It'd be stupid for him to fucking try to, tire him out, go into the later rounds, and then try to use his power. He's got to utilize it when it's freshest.
Exactly. By the way, shout out to Not for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says, the way the PBC markets plant is disgusting. I think he means the lack of marketing. I think that's the main problem there with the PBC. But hold on a second, give me 2 seconds here. My fucking chair's stuck to the.
Chicharo was arrested last night. Or charged.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. I was waiting for us to move to another topic.
What?
Oh, okay, you want to talk about? Go ahead, bro.
Wait a second. Charlo arrested? Nah.
Yeah, Jamal Charlo.
2 hours ago. I told you this 2 hours ago.
I don't believe this. I don't believe you. Okay, it's got a different type of conspiracy.
Fucking Heyman hates that kid's. I was just, dude, check this out. PBC. He tweeted out a picture of now Charlo, Broner, Davis. I think they're all in their mugshots, and it's PBC, Penitentiary Boxing Crew.
I know who you're imitating on that one to recognize. I know exactly who you're imitating. The same person that wouldn't let me talk long enough to tell him about it today.
Yeah, man.
So
I don't believe that. It was some type of conspiracy.
Since we're on other subjects, Jimmy, you know that I have a friend that I do talk about boxing, but I don't mention his name on the air out of respect to him. Today we're having a conversation. I didn't even get to. I sent him a text about the Charlo situation. we didn't even get to that. First of all, he said he rescored the Manny fight, and there's no doubt that Ugas schooled Manny. And I mean, I can't see anyone have schooled anyone, regardless of how you scored it. I can't see it as schooling. You know what I mean? So then he says, "Better be glad Spence wasn't in there because Spence would have really hurt him." I'm like, detached right now? I don't think so. So we keep going about this conversation, and we move on to another one about there's rumor right now, and it looks like PBC is boiling this up for Tank Davis to fight Keith Thurman. And according to the source that I was talking to, he says it's probably going to be at 145 pounds. And he's like, Keith's going to knock him out. He's just too big for him. Like, I don't know if Keith can even make 145. I don't know if Keith can make 147. How do you think he's going to actually knock a guy out at 145? Not to mention, since he's won his 2 titles, when has he ever looked like a knockout machine? He said, well, he's just too small. The kid's just too small. So I've been pointing out in this area that this, regardless of what we think about Barrios, that this may be the weight class Tank should have been at 2 years ago. Not just we think he's undisciplined in making weight because he's been at 130 since he was 19 years old. He's 26. He may not carry the weight well. It may be out of his realm, like 147 was for Arturo Gatti. But this is where he needs to be if he's going to compete. So when I bring that point up, it goes haywire. Then it gets to the Vitaly Klitschko-Lennox Lewis situation. And he says Lennox Vitaly was training for a whole year just to fight Lennox. He said that himself. No, that's not how it happened. They were supposed to be on the same car. And then the more I kept correcting him, he finally just goes, you know what, have a good day. I've got to go. And he hangs up on me. I'm like,
wait, who are you talking about?
It's a friend of mine that I don't mention his name on the air. But we talk boxing every once in a while. And he got really upset with me today because his quotes from history were distorted. And the more I kept correcting him, the more he got mad. So he basically hung up on me.
Whoa.
Well, Chief, I think you did say his name a second ago. You let it slip. Unless I heard it wrong. I thought you said the kid's name at the end of a sentence.
Chief is
but it was quick, though.
Chief is doxing people now. What the fuck? I gotta watch my ass around him.
Yeah, Chief's a good guy, man. He doesn't want to put the kid out there. But if he's that much of a fucking clown show to you, dude, you know what I mean? At some point, like, if he's disrespecting you, then fuck it. You know what I mean?
If he wants to call me back, great. I've mentioned him before, and you actually said that, you asked me if you think he was actually trolling me. It's the same character that we've talked about in the past. And
dude, he sounds like one of those types. He just, I don't know if he's miserable or bitter in his real life, but he sounds like the type who he's going to always say the thing that's going to get you upset. You know what I mean? Almost like one of those people who enjoys chaos in other people's lives type of thing.
We've agreed.
Because it always seems like he's always doing that to you, dude.
We've agreed on things in the past, but no, I bring some of it on myself because I love to play devil's advocate. So, I mean, some of it I'm not any better than he is when it comes to that. He'll bring up a
I don't know, but that picture of Usyk and Chisora on the bottom left where they're like posing, it looks super gay, man.
It looks like why did Usyk what did Chisora show up looking like he was from the movie Quest for Fire with the fucking white paint over him? I mean, this guy's crazy.
He did the white face. He did the wait, time out. He did the white face.
Oh.
Well, or he did the insane clown posse. Which way you want to go with this?
Yeah, that's true.
I say he did the white face. If it was Usyk, nobody would care about that. It's the white face to me. Racist.
Well, listen. At the end of the day, this is what we're gonna be doing with the film analysis. I'm gonna give you the clips first, so you guys can watch them, and then we'll watch them live. Listen. Next time we gotta watch some Joshua fights because we've seen now the 3.
Yeah, we definitely got time, right? The fight's in a month from now, so we can do the Joshua fight.
And last time I checked, the calendar is not flowing full of like huge fights that we've got to cover. I'm not saying that there's no boxing between here and there, but it's not like any big pay-per-views or any high-profile names are coming between here and there. Other than
any word on Fury? Any word on Fury? Because I really haven't been keeping up with Fury Wilder. I know that apparently he had a child. His wife gave birth to another kid. Tyson Fury, I'm talking about, and that she was a little sick. He had a daughter. Something happened with her.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yes,
yeah.
but I guess she bounced back. Thank God. The child.
Apparently, this fight is still set for October, October the 8th, I believe. So, but I mean, it just seems like it might be one of those weird fights where it never actually happens. It says here October the 9th. October the 9th.
They're not doing it. They're not promoting this fight, man.
And
I mean, look, it's still
PBC
some
doesn't have
time.
any money to promote it with. If PBC is the main promoter, because it worked for the last time, they were the top billing promoter, and this is the rematch clause making them the top promoter again. Jimmy basically hinted at it before when all those Showtime fights were announced. They said, well, here's your budget for this year from us. Fox is only giving them so much more money, and Fox isn't looking to really, at the moment, rush to re-sign PBC to another long-term contract. So what money is there really to put into this
it's
promotion?
ESPN. It's an ESPN and Fox split promotion. Okay.
Oh, it is. I see that now.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought it was ESPN.
Bob's taking the back seat. Bob's taking the back seat, going, "Okay, you screwed up my plans. You've got this whole thing. We'll go on with it. I'm not putting any money into it.
Gotcha.
I'm just going to take my percentage out of Fury's pocket, and as my right as a promoter, you guys go. It's your show. You wanted it that badly. Here you go."
Well, I mean, the fight's taking place in Vegas, and Vegas ain't exactly Texas or Florida right now. They do have that whole fucking social distance. I think it's not as loose as.
Wait. The fight with Pacquiao and Ugas was in Vegas, yeah.
Yeah.
That crowd was full. There was no social distancing at all.
Okay, cool. By the way, there were two people in the front row. They had the mask on and they had the shield, the face shield. I thought, oh, come on, would you?
Yeah, you fucking clown.
I would have went up and sneezed right on him.
Jeez.
That's side note on this whole thing about how this. I was talking to someone at work today, and it's like we did a search. There's about little under 8 billion people in this world. There's a minimum of 3 variants of this disease going around, and we have multiple third world countries with beyond pathetic healthcare, and not even 10 million people have died from this yet. One is one too many. But if this is a deadly pandemic with 3 different strains going through Africa and South America, where people are indigent and live in boxes in some of these places, and I'm only saying this out of first-hand witness experience, nothing to change and disparaging about how they live. It's just the culture of their climate, the climate of their culture. That means their medical care is about as good as their house. So if that's the case, how is this disease not wiped out 30 million people already if it's that deadly?
You're making too much sense, Chief. You're making too much sense, man. We're gonna get shut down.
Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's you're exactly bang on. It's that the Taliban seems to be doing pretty good. No social distancing, no masks. It's like it's almost as if the news media doesn't cover it. It's almost as if it doesn't even, it's not that bad. Almost non-existent.
On that note, I have some people that I work with that have been called up to do something, and it wasn't deemed classified, but it has to do with the deportation of a lot of them, and I'm not going to go out on them and say anything for fact. This is not anyone's record. It doesn't reflect on BDA show at all, but I'm not convinced that some Taliban people might not be mixed in with the people defecting to try and come here. So pray for our soldiers that are about to welcome all these people in, because it's going to be a shit show, and we don't know exactly how dangerous it'll be.
Hey, I read Jacksonville, Florida, which I think it's your state of the neck of the woods. They're getting ready. A whole community is going to be set up for them right there. So, yeah,
I hope Jayville stands up, man. Don't let that happen, bro.
Represent.
Hey, Jayville moved away from Florida a long time ago.
Well, Chief, to your point, and this is on the news, though, that nothing going to say this was even repeated across the news. Well, the news stations had the balls to show it. 100,000, which is pretty much the biggest sample size you can get doing a poll. 100,000 Afghans from the north to the south were polled. 90% believe in Sharia law should be the law of the land, and 40% believe that suicide bombing is a perfectly good way to handle this dispute. And that's fact. That's 40%. So if 1,000 Afghans come here, 400 of them believe that it's all right to fucking put a vest on full of C4 if you draw a picture of Muhammad. So this is going to be disastrous.
It's going to be
beyond belief.
It's going to be a heck of a cookout next summer, right, Jimmy? It's going to be a
Sharia law. That's a good time. Good time.
Gonna be a very explosive barbecue. Let's just put it that way. And it ain't going to be because of the chili dogs. But listen, one thing you have to also keep in mind here is that just like with this whole Syrian conflict 10 years ago, you were seeing all these immigrants, and for some reason, it was all 30 to 40-year-old males in there. You didn't see many children or women. It was all a bunch of fighting age males. So hey, we were seeing the same.
Actually, it was military age males. The vast majority were the age between 22 and 32.
Remember what Nikita Khrushchev said to one of these ex-communists who was screaming at the United Nations he wanted to take America down. Now, Nikita Khrushchev said, calm your ass down. We're going to kill them within. We will defeat them within by ruining their country, invading them. Yep.
Bingo. Recognize with the gym.
I kind of ad-libbed that calm your ass down thing, but it was more or less like that. It's like, yo, calm the fuck down, man. We'll kill them within. That's how I would do it.
All right. Well, listen, with that being said, we do have to go. Thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. It was a fantastic film analysis. I really enjoyed seeing it. I hope you guys enjoyed doing it as well. And one thing.
Did. Thank you, BDA.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you. And listen, again, we're going to... which Joshua fight should we see? Because if we're watching he hasn't really fought any world-class southpaws. The only good southpaw that I've seen him fight so far was in the Olympic final when he fought that Italian dude. And that Italian guy gave him a lot of problems. And wouldn't you know it, southpaw, 6 feet 3 inches tall, just like Usyk. What was that, Jimmy?
Hey, you said the Italian guy. Hey,
okay.
How we doing? Get off the Pontiac. Fuck you doing? Get off the Pontiac, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, but that dude fights a lot like... I mean, he's built a little bit like Usyk, except his style was a little bit more herky-jerky, but still very...
Mi soy italiano. Solo mi. Mi soy... I like the way they say that. Mi soy italiano.
And the guy's a real Italian.
There you go, brother.
He's not from Bensonhurst. Bensonhurst.
I'm from Bensonhurst.
Remember that scene in the 25th Hour when he's talking about all the ethnic groups, and then he goes, "Fuck the Bensonhurst Italians, blah blah blah." And then you see them there looking at the camera. Who the fuck is this guy? It sounds like when you walk into the neighborhood and you're a personal caller. That's what they say. Who the fuck is this guy? Oh man, good movie. Anyway, listen, we gotta go. Thanks again for joining us. I gotta set up the. I'm working on the other channel there. See if it works, and if it does, man. we might be cooking with grease now. Let me tell you that much right now. Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
So listen, fellas, thanks again for.
Was you already done the OJ episode?
No, not yet. I think Bucho wants to be part of it, but he hasn't had the time. So,
Bucho's been busy lately, right?
He's been a busy little beaver, that's for sure.
Teaching French. He's teaching French.
Yeah, he's teaching
taking over the world, baby. Taking over the world.
He's teaching Italian.
Gentlemen, have a good night. BDA, thank you for having me on. I got to go.
Chief, peace.
Take it easy, Chief.
Good night. Good night, gentlemen. Remember, pray for our soldiers.
Absolutely. So shout out to Chief.
Oh, his son, man. He's smiling. Look at his smile. Beautiful face, man. I like that, Gonzalo. I just realized you had a picture of your son and he's smiling, man.
I thought that was
Gonzalo. Oh, yeah, look at that. No shit. Little face. Big smile.
I thought that was Gonzalo for a second.
Looks like Gonzalo.
That's my son. He looks like me.
Well, listen, fellas.
Like me, he does.
Yeah, if he doesn't look anything like you, there's a bit of a problem there, Gonzalo. But listen, fellas, thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Mr. E and Not for their contribution to the Super Chat. Also, don't forget, for those who are BDA members, those who are in the membership program, I dropped the Benavides film analysis in there, so you guys can check it out. And that's about it, fellas. Well, thanks again for joining us. Real appreciate it. Shout out to Grievous, Vince Vegas, Jay Billow, Mr. E.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. What about me, Grievous, Mr. E, Storm Raptor, Azzy, Triple JJJ, many more people, I'm sure, guys. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to everybody who joined us too. Gonzalo, Chief, Jimmy, Apology. Thank you, guys. I mean, recognize. Thank you. Thanks again, fellas. Really appreciate it. And we'll catch you in the next one, folks. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.
Disappointed in every one of you.